Hello, welcome back. This is another video tutorial in creating a Pokemon style adventure game in AGS. In the last video we set up our battle GUI and we also created a script for our combat and we planned a rough sequence of events for when we get into combat. So what I've done is, just off camera, is just to make things a bit easier and quicker to test the combat. I've gone and created a little Pokemon ball in our room, and when you click on it, it's just going to give us the Bulbasaur basically. So it's exactly the same kind of code that we used for the Pokélab when we selected one of the three Pokemon balls. So we're just going to we're copying the details from the our Pokédex script and transferring that over into our stable. So this is our ready Pokemon. So where to begin? What we're going to do is, in the old game on the Game Boy, that was a tile-based engine, like a tile-based game. So if you tapped a direction button, rather than moving a single pixel and just stopping, you would travel from one tile to the next, and it had a step counter. So it counted the number of steps that the player made, and that, and it was a random number, and that would trigger combat. But AGS isn't tile based. So what we're actually going to create characters, objects in the room, which will be Pokemon, and when we collide with them, that will start combat. Okay. Okay. So let's go to our script, and we're gonna load. Well, actually, before we do anything, we're gonna use characters for our Pokemon. So I'm gonna go and get a sprite. This is gonna be a placeholder sprite for now because the Pokemon creatures that are going to be randomly positioned around our room will end up being transparent, and you won't be able to see them anyway. So we're just going to create a view. This is literally just for testing the combat. Create a new view, and we'll set that to be 83, the Pokemon. I'm not even going to bother naming it. No, well, we are going to use this for the characters. I'll just call this the wild Pokemon. Yes, because we do need it actually for the character. So I'm going to create a new character. What I might do is I'll create a new folder in here, and we'll call this wild Pokemon, and he can go in there. So, because we're going to need to have lots and lots of these. We might need 10 or 12 or 20 even. It's up to you. Depends how busy you want your battle environments to have wild Pokemon kind of standing around. So I'm just going to go and change this to C wild Pokemon 01. Wild Pokemon 1. Okay. Let's set for now his starting room to be the player house. Okay, so if we go to the player house and switch on characters, that's going to be him. We just need to make sure that we set his normal view to be that. I mean, we could have used the player sprite. It's no big deal because again, we're not going to see it anyway. So there we are. So when we collide with it, we want to basically trigger combat. So let's go to the room script. So say you're in an outdoor environment and you're walking around tall grass, and this is a grass Pokemon. And it's a room that's going to have combat in it. What we're going to do is we're going to go and click on our events button, and we're going to click on and make sure that we have the room selected and not an object. And on the repeatedly execute, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go player dot is colliding with character, and it's going to be C wild Pokemon 1. Okay. And it's an if statement. So if player is colliding with Pokemon 1. So this is going to fire every frame of the game. Okay. So we're also going to have another condition, and that's going to be is combat equals false. Okay. Now we haven't created that yet. So if we're going to go into our global variables, create a new variable, and it's a bool. And we're going to go is combat. If I can spell it right. And that's going to be set to false. No, it should be in combat. What am I thinking? In combat. Let's go back to the room script. So in combat. Okay. In combat. So if player is colliding with wild Pokemon 1 and that condition that we created in combat equals false, then we're going to do something in here. Okay? And what we're going to do is if we go to our combat script, battle manager script, we're going to create a new function and we're going to call this combat start. Okay? I'm going to take that, we will go to the header of the battle manager and we're going to go import combat start. So then we go back to our room and then we'll just do combat start. So if we collide with the wild Pokemon and this in combat is false, then the combat is going to begin. Okay, and those checks are going to be made every loop, and there's 40 in a game second, I think there is. So there's quite a lot. So the moment we are in combat, what I'm going to do is we're going to do in combat equals true. Okay, so that's going to stop that code that was in that room to be firing over and over again, because suddenly that extra condition that we put in is now true and not false. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Just to keep things simple as well, what we're going to do is, because if I run the game, well, what we'll do, just to show you what will happen, we'll also do g battle UI dot visible equals true. So let's run the game. So if I click past the Pokemon here, you can see that the GUI loaded up, but you could just notice in the background that the room I was still walking, okay, and it just looks a bit messy. So we want the player to stop immediately when he comes in contact with the Pokemon. So we're going to just do player dot stop moving, and that's going to stop the player in his tracks. Okay. So now we need to set a few things. We need to start displaying the Pokemon that we're going to be battling. Okay, and we need to transfer that information from the Pokédex to another array. I know we're using an awful lot, but It'll make sense. So if I go to the Pokédex, we'll go there. I'm just going to copy this. And we'll go back to the battle script. I may as well put this at the top. So this is going to be while battle Pokemon, and then we'll do what's going on there? We'll do combat Pokemon. That'll be the array name, and we'll just do an array of 1 there, and we'll do export combat Pokemon. We'll also need to go and grab that from the header. I'm just going to copy that. We'll go back to our battle manager header. I'm just going to put that in there. And that's what's the struct call. That, I think, isn't it? Okay, put that in there. And we're going to take this. We'll put that there. Okay, so there's some information that we don't need, really. We don't need any of this. And we don't need the back image. Okay, we don't need to see the back of it, we need to see the front of it. So the rest of it's okay. So I'm going to take that away, and we'll take that away. Let's hit run and see if it crashes. Oh yeah, of course, I need to change those details as well, don't I? So let's copy that over. Copy, paste. So we'll just transfer that into these. So eventually, at the moment, I think for this test, we're going to be battling a Caterpie, because I think that would be pretty cool. But eventually, you're going to want to have it randomly choose what Pokemon to be battling. And obviously, if you're in a grass area, you're only going to be wanting grass type Pokemon to battle with, and maybe if you're in early in the game, like maybe the next kind of wild area, you might only want Pokemon of a certain level or a certain type to battle with. Like I think in the first Game Boy game, the first area that you'd move to, that's like, you know, with like grass and things, you're just fighting like rats and Pidgeys. I think that's about it. So you're probably going to want something a bit similar. You don't want to be able to fight every type of grass Pokemon straight away. So this is all things that we need to plan and think about when we're getting the combat system finalized. But right now, we're going to use the Caterpie as our test dummy. So with that done, that should be running fine. If I hadn't put some random symbol in there. Okay. So that should all be fine. So we're going to be doing this a bit differently when it comes to randomly choosing what Pokemon we fight. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the combat Pokemon. We'll just take that, put that in there, and we'll just do equals. We'll just do this a few times. This is probably going to be quite a long video, I would imagine, actually. Again, this is going to be we're going to be doing this quite differently in the end, but this is just to get combat working. So we're going to be doing so it's what's the Pokedex thing? Creature. And it's 10. Okay. We can get rid of that. We can get rid of that. So, creature 10, which is the Caterpie. Oh, we don't need the number as well. That's definitely something we don't need. Get rid of the number. Not necessary. Which means I'm going to have to go back to the header. We'll get rid of that. Okay. We're getting there. We're getting there. So, it was going to be creature 10 dot name. We also need to get rid of these values. Okay. Because there we're assigning them a value, but we don't want to do that. We're assigning the value this way by transferring it over from to another thing. Okay. So that's going to be creature 10 dot front image. Creature 10 dot level. Creature 10 dot type. Creature 10 dot HP. Creature 10 dot attack. Creature 10 dot defense. Creature 10 dot speed. Creature 10 dot special. Creature 10 dot power 1. Creature 10 dot power 2. Creature 10 dot power 3. Okay, so we're copying the Caterpie statistics into this, this is what we're going to use for combat for wild Pokemon anyway. So any wild Pokemon that we eventually we will randomly select, it will grab the stats and it will plug them into here. Okay. But for now we're doing it this way just to get combat working. So the next thing we're going to do is before the battle GUI is visible, let's load up the GUI for our battle, and we need to set all of this to those stats that we've just copied over. Okay, so Pokename, so L target Pokename. Man, I really wish I'd named these a lot better. So L target Pokename dot text equals string dot format equals, because we're transferring a string to a string, we don't need to do anything too fancy. Actually, we can probably get rid of that. And we'll just do, we just need that. Okay. Should run fine. Combat Pokey. Oh. Yeah, let's get rid of these commas, the semicolons. They're not needed. This is what happens when you start just copying things over. You start getting, you end up transferring just errors over. So this is an interesting. I'm glad this has come up. This is an interesting error. It's saying unidentified symbol creature. Okay, but we know creature exists in the scripts because if you go to scripts, there's creature. Okay, now the scripts are in a hierarchy, so the game loads the scripts from the top all the way down to global script. Now the Pokédex, the Pokédex script, which has this entity, this creature object, is below the Pokemon Manager script. So the Pokemon Manager script is getting read first, and it hasn't got a clue what creature is. So what we need to do is we need to make sure. I'm just going to load it, but drop it below the Pokédex and stable. So now the Battle Manager will know what this creature entry is because it's above that script. So if we run it now, it's still not liking it. There we go. I'm missing a semicolon. So easily done. So now it's running fine. Now the battle script knows what this creature entity is because Pokédex is being read first by the engine. So let's transfer a few more things over. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. So the HP and the level. The HP and the level are actually all one label. So that's fine. So we'll do I'll target HP level dot text equals string dot format. Now we do have to do it this way because we're converting a number. We're converting numbers essentially into strings. So I'm just going to copy that. We'll put that in there. And then we'll do %d because that means that we're taking an integer and displaying it, and we'll do the same there. %d. Then we'll put a comma. So the first variable we need is this. So we'll put that there, and then the next variable is the level. So we'll just copy that, put that there. Let's run that. So that's fine. And then what we need to do is we need to set the image as well. So this button, so B target Pokemon image. So B target Pokemon image dot normal graphic equals, and then we're just going to go with front image. So whatever number is stored in that front image property is going to be set into the normal graphic. So we know that what we've done here is we've copied the Caterpie's stats and we're storing them in the wild Pokemon that we're going to be fighting. And here we're going to be displaying all of that information. So let's run the game. And we'll run the game. And you'll see. So let's go and click on him. There we go. So there you go. So we've got Caterpie. We can see his HP is 45. He's only level 1. And you can see that the image is now the Caterpie. So let's also put in some text. So here we've got battle details. So we'll do L battle details dot text equals string dot format, and we'll say you have found a wild and we'll do %s, okay? And then we're going to go with name. So the combat Pokemon name. So at the end, in the end, it doesn't. We can choose whatever. We can randomly choose whatever Pokemon we want. All this information is just going to be taken from the combat Pokemon. So let's run the game, and you can see that when I walk over here, so you have found a wild Caterpie. Okay, and we can't click anywhere. Okay, so there we go. And also, might put an exclamation mark there. We need to display our Pokemon. So the first Pokemon in your list of your team, like Pokemon Zero, ready Pokemon Zero, is going to be your active Pokemon. So we also need to do the same here. So we're going to go with, if we go to battle, so it's my Pokemon. Okay, so L my Pokemon name dot text equals, and it's just going to be, if we go to stable, it's just going to be that, ready Pokemon Zero. So ready Pokemon Zero dot name. So we're doing exactly the same as we're doing here, but we're displaying our information. So the HP and level. So I'll just copy that label name, put that in here. Dot text equals string dot format, and I'm just going to copy the actual label text as a guide. So put that in there. Then we're going to go with %d and %d, and the variables that we need is going to be ready Pokemon Zero dot HP and ready Pokemon Zero dot level. And now we need the image. So if we go to our room, you can see here that we're just copying this over. So oh, I've made a bit of a mistake there. We need the back image, not the front image. So go to stable. I don't have the. We probably do need the back image anyway. So I'm just going to quickly. So it's back and then front. Yes. Okay. We'll do that anyway. So that'll be back. I should have. I knew when I was doing this actually. I thought maybe I'll need the back image in the end. But I thought no, I probably won't. I'll just leave it. And it turns out that that I do really, and I should have just taken that. So I'm just going to put this back in. Okay, so 4, 3, 2. Back image 5. Okay, so we'll go to our room script. We're going to set. Oh, of course, I need to add that to the stable header. So it's an int back image. So yeah, back image. Okay, that was very silly of me. Never mind. So we need to set that to be back image. back image. And you know what? I'm going to have to go to the Pokélab, and we'll have to do the same for so for this as well. So we'll do back image. I'm even copying the wrong thing over here. So it's going to be back image. Okay. Back image. Back image. And if we fix this now, then that's it. We don't have to look at this ever again. Back image. Okay. Run the game. So HP level. Invalid use of operator. Where? Oops. There we go. Right. Right. So now we know what the back image is, at least. So what's if we go to our combat? So we'll have this selected. So be my poke image. So we'll do. If we go back to, we can close that down. Close that down. Close this down. We'll do be my poke image dot normal graphic equals, and it's going to be ready Pokemon 0 dot back image. And it just so happens that the back image anyway is just as a placeholder is the Bulbasaur, but that's fine. I could literally set this to something else just to show you that it's working. So maybe I'll set you to that. No, it needs to be of the same size, really. That was a bit silly. Hold on. Yeah, okay. We'll just leave it as is until I have more back images, because I think I've only got that one at the moment. So let's click this just so we have some Pokemon to fight with. So if we touch him, so you can see here that we have our Bulbasaur, we have his level, his HP, his level. You can see that our target is a Caterpie, his HP, his level. We've got the correct images. We have a bit of text. You have found a wild Caterpie. And that is essentially our intro. We can have some animation. So maybe I think they kind of burst in with like a cloud of like dust. So we can maybe get that in eventually. I don't have those art assets actually at the moment to hand, but you can see here that we have a kind of an intro kind of setup. So in the next video, we're going to do a check for like who goes first. So that's just going to be like a speed check, and then whoever goes first will deal with the actions. It's quite a long video. I do apologise. So I shall see you in the next one.